My name is Vincent Crafoord, and you're watching the 5T podcast, Techno and Talk on Tuesdays and Thursdays with Ty.
We're back with another episode of the 5T podcast, Techno and Talk on Tuesdays and Thursdays with Ty. I'm Ty. Today we have a special guest as usual. All our guests are special, but I'll let him introduce himself. Who are you and how did you end up in Stockholm's techno scene?
Well, my name is Vincent Crafoord. I host the Parties Park Lane session, and it all started with I was on my first rave when I was 17. I was walking through the woods. I was really drunk. I was by myself, and I heard this party away, and this was by the university. And I started walking after the sound, and then I came to this bliss of lights and everything. I was like, what is this? And I saw behind the hill, it was a lot of people partying. And this older dude, he's like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, you drinking vodka? Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? I'm just going from this party, but I heard this music. Mm-hmm. So I went there, and that's how I got into the scene. After that, I've been raving since I was 17.
Oh, wow.
And and I started hosting my parties just because, so after 4 years of raving, I was like, I want to play music, I want to DJ, and I'm a musician myself. So I started hosting pop-up parties in Tantolunden,
okay,
where I played just DJ by myself with this little speaker, and it started like that. I did that for a year, the whole summer, every Wednesday, and then it kind of grew bigger and bigger, and it ended up with me having, the most amount of people I had on my party was 800 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so it started like that, and that's how I got into the rave scene. Okay. So I've been raving a lot of years until I've done my own parties. So it's been 17 to 24. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you were a musician. Are you like a trained musician? Have you been to taking music classes and learn how to play instruments and stuff?
Yeah, I have. I've been, I started off when I was a kid in the first grade of school. My mom said, you should play the saxophone. I was like, only old people do that, right? She's like, yeah, but when you're older, it's gonna be sexy. So I just
saxophone.
So saxophone, I started with that. And and then in 4th grade, my mom told me you should go to music school. And so I did. I didn't know that I was meant to do music, but I just did. Okay. And so I've been in music schools ever since the 4th grade till the gymnasium. I've been learning saxophone, guitar, drums, violin, you name it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your last name, Crafoord, where does that come from?
Crafoord is a Scottish name. Okay. And it comes from, what do you say?
Is it your mom's name or your dad's name?
It is my mom's name.
Okay.
And it's a really traditional family name. We're from Scotland, and we're what do you call it? Not when you're adel, you know adel?
Yeah, this is like not royalty, but noble.
Noble, exactly. So it's this noble family, right? Okay. For me, it hasn't been a thing, but for my mom, it always was a thing.
Okay.
I wasn't raised with a lot of money, but she wanted to be this noble Crafoord.
Okay. Yeah.
So she tried to stand by that all the time. So that's the name. It's from Scotland, and it's from my mother. Okay. And she kept the name from my grandmother. She did. Yeah. Her grandmother.
From her grandmother?
Yeah, my grandmother doesn't have the last name. She took another last name.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's your grandmother's maiden name?
Exactly.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
All right.
So it comes from this noble family in Scotland.
Which music school did you go to?
I went to Kulturama First,
I went there too, but for the film and video studies.
Yeah, for the adult, yeah. I was there in, do you call it primary school?
Yeah. Well,
it's like from 4th grade to 9th grade.
That's more like middle school.
Middle school,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I went to middle school there and went dance and showcase and music.
Okay.
And then after that, I went to Fryshuset. That was a whole other thing. Like, first when I did Kulturama, I was like, okay, I know music now. What do I want to do? What do I want to apply to? I want to apply to something that I haven't done yet. So I'll go rock song. So I applied to rock song.
Okay.
Yeah, in the gymnasium.
What is that?
It's a course where you learn how to sing rock songs. Yeah, I know it's not much, but it helped me with my stage presence and with my personality, just in my artist type of vibe.
Definitely.
Yeah, it did.
It definitely comes through.
It does?
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, and that's interesting though, because with the artist thing, it's like it comes through, but once in a while I think sometimes like, I'm always Vincent Crafoord, you know? But sometimes I just wish to be like Vincent. In this like society where nobody knows who the fuck you are or something.
To tone everything down and kind of be a
yeah, kind of, because you get lost in it too. But I'm an artist. That's what I'm gonna keep doing, just like you.
I hope so, yeah. All right, so you said that you started doing parties about how many years ago, was it?
Yeah, I actually thought about that yesterday. I was like, is it 3 years or is it 2 years? I think it's 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 years. So I've been doing them for 2 years now. I did it this summer for 2 years, and then I didn't do any parties during the winter, and then I started doing them before the summer again. So this would be the 3rd year for me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and this year I haven't had any in indoor locations before. I've been doing my parties always outside. That's been my thing, because when I started doing my parties was because we had this thing in Stockholm where a lot of journalists and newspapers, they started going out to the raves and taking pictures and filming and and broadcasting that on the television. So I was like, whoa, I need to show people that rave is not just about that, right? Yeah. Crazy stuff. So I started doing it in the city. So that was kind of the main thing, to do them in the city where everybody can get to the party, where everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
And it went really good. It ended up with, people wanted to hardcore party and people with their kids on the same spot, like just joining together. Yeah.
That's important. I think that's one of the things that I miss about, I've been doing parties for a long time. And we started doing Blue Ravine in Långholmen. And there was like families and everything all at once, because it's in the daytime in the middle of the city, basically.
Right.
Yeah, Blue Ravine, so yeah.
It's perfect. It makes it more unity and everybody's welcome, and just in general, I prefer daytime raves or like techno parties, because I want to sleep at night. I'm a human being, for God's sake. Right? So yeah.
Same.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It creates a different vibe, definitely.
It does.
All right. So what would you say has been there's different ways to define best, but what do you say was your most fun you had doing parties so far?
That was up on Gondolen. Gondolen is a restaurant, and over it in Slussen you have this Katarina elevator, and you have this thing that goes out, like, I don't know how high up it is, maybe it's like 30 meters, 40 meters, and it was so beautiful.
So that was Vincent's party up at Gondolin. And we're back here with Vincent Crafoord, talking about his experiences. All right, so then you talked about your best party. What was your worst experience doing something?
My worst experience, my worst experience was in Tantu when I started doing my parties.
We have a clip of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the police came and I had a really good relationship with them. This was the worst time was because I started in this place where they do graffiti in Tanto, and there's, what do you say, like a lot of people just wasting time there, drinking beer and doing whatever they do, right? So I had this party and the police came and I had a good relationship with them. They gave them my number, like if you need anything, right?
Yeah, if anybody comes.
Yeah. So the day after I had this party and I came there and a lot of people came, they were so happy. And then the police came and I was like, oh yeah, and I see this dude that I know, right? But then my guests started to talk for me.
Oh, okay.
They started to talk for me like they were me with the police. And they said, no, I'm the guy who's arranging this and blah, blah, blah. And it got all fucked up, so they got really mad at me instead. So they took me in the police car.
Wow.
And I had to speak to them a lot, and they were like, are these people representing you? I'm like, no, but I'm representing them though. So like, you gotta listen to, that was the worst, but it wasn't a big thing. My parties has always, not to be like that, but they've always been so good, like from the start till the end, with the police too. But that was probably the baddest experience because I got really scared to lose my contact with the police. And as far as I know, like there's not so many people that does parties in the city and that wants to collaborate with the police. So I just wanted to maintain that. So I was a bit scared that I'm gonna lose that. But otherwise, it's been really good actually, to be honest. It's just these small things, as you know too, like with drunk people or with, these
people that's too fucked up and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's something you just gotta, go with, and
it's part of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
All right. So, but then, what is your overall purpose of doing parties?
My overall purpose with doing parties, and as I started doing my parties, I did them for free, and I'm gonna keep on doing my parties for free. Because why I'm doing the parties is that I want to join people from different places around Stockholm on the same place for the same purpose of being and exploring their happiness in the moment, with other people exploring their happiness in the moment. And that's the only thing they have in common. We are here, we are happy, and we want to have a good time, right? And usually, maybe sometimes with a party, there's another purpose, like just by having more than just having a good time. We're gonna do this at the party, blah blah blah. But this is my main goal is just to bring people together and see that we're not so different, you and I. The details, sure, but what do we want in general? People, we want to have a good time. We want to live a happy life.
Exactly.
So that's what I want to do with people, just bring them together in that way. So I'm gonna keep on doing them for free. And like 1 or 2 times here, maybe I'm gonna do a paid party. But that's gonna be another concept then.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are you from Stockholm originally?
No, I'm born in Gothenburg, actually. Okay. It's nothing I say a lot because you literally can't hear it when I speak Swedish. I sound like a real Stockholm. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But I was born there. I moved from there when I was 6 years old to Stockholm. I've lived in Stockholm almost ever since. Lived in Thailand for 1.5 years when I was a kid. My parents, they got this idea. Okay. Well, let's sell everything, move to Thailand. Right.
But your ethnicity, what are you?
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah, I know a lot of people ask that. Yeah, well, my dad he's half Portuguese and half African from Angola, right? And my mother is half Swedish and Scottish. Okay. Yeah.
And your dad lives in Sweden, or?
Yeah, he lives in Gothenburg. Okay. He moved here when he was young, He went down the street in Gothenburg when he was, I don't know how old he was. Went by this party, he was like, this looks nice. He went in and my mother was like, who are you? Why are you going into my party? He's like, I'm Emmanuel. And she was like, oh, damn. And they fucked, and then he went, for real. 3 years after, my godfather, he walks on the street in Gothenburg, and he sees 2 kids with this guy, and he's like, those kids looks exactly like Vincent.
Your father's name is Vincent?
No.
Okay.
These kids looks exactly like Vincent, like me.
Okay, yeah.
And he walked up to him, he was like, bro. He's like, huh? It's like, look at this kid, look at your kids. He was like, oh my God, I think this is his sisters.
Okay.
And that was how I got connected with my real father again. So 3 years after I was born, yeah, we lived in the same city. He didn't know he had a son.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because he literally went into the party.
It was just like a one-night stand type of thing.
It was a 1 hour stand.
Okay, wow.
He went into the party, they fucked, and he took a drink and went.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, he found out he had a kid.
Yeah.
Wow.
My godfather was like, this is his sisters, it has to be. He was like, oh fuck, it is. And then my mother was like, oh yeah, you have a kid.
Oh wow. But then what's your future? What do you want to do with the music? Do you want to keep doing parties like this, or what's the plan? Do you have a plan?
I do actually. I want to keep on doing these parties. So I've always been like this. Am I an artist or an entrepreneur? Can I be both or not? I like the entrepreneur part more. I'm gonna keep on doing these parties for free. But I actually have a ending goal, which is making my parties all white. It would be legal then. So I want to make legal parties, festivals, and that's what I want to do mainly in the future, big festivals. I'm not going to say too much, but I hope to have a big festival in 1 or 2 years in a big arena in Tierp.
Tierp, where's that?
Tierp, well, I just want to say like way up.
So it's in the north?
Yeah, it is. And then they have this big drag racing stadium there, where I got this offer from a person who wants to do a big festival. Okay. So I'm hoping to do that in the future festivals. And to be honest, I would like them to be for free in the future, but it's kind of hard in the scale I want to do it.
Yeah, the DJs are gonna want to get paid.
Exactly, I have to pay them.
Lighting people and the sound people, you gotta rent the sound system.
Right.
If you're doing a festival, you're gonna need electricity probably from somewhere.
Exactly. So I'm thinking of doing my artist career like this, keep it going, and my entrepreneur career just like this afterward. And then when I'm on the top here in my artist career, I'm just gonna do the switch like this.
Okay.
So that's the thought I have. I haven't had so much more thought into it than otherwise. That I want to do parties. I want them to get bigger. That's always my motto. Bigger, better, badder. The 3 B's.
Like, if you had like one thing you wanted to say to people with this time, what would that be?
In this time?
Yeah, with the time you have, like when you were coming here, you're like, okay, this is what I want to say. This is what I want people to think. Something like that. Like your message, the Vincent message.
I got a lot of those.
Well, here's your chance.
And my message to you all today is, be all you can be you, because who else would you be other than you? Like, just be you, because I love you for who you are, and everybody else will. It's easier to accept people for who they are than people trying to be something they're not.
Open up your heart and what do you feel? Open up your heart, what do you feel? Yes, we do, yeah. We think that maybe a few good years away. Oh, but I can't think out a better time to say. future. Open up inside. Hey, hold on, come on. Everybody in the universe world, hold on. Instead of messing with our future, open up inside. Children of the sky, alright. Love don't take no for an answer. Oh, no. Right here, spread love. Everybody join together now, one life, one heart, love and unity. Everybody say. Hold on, come on, hey, everybody in the universe world, hold on, instead of messing with our future, open up inside, world, hold on, come on, everybody in the universe world. Hold on, instead of messing with our future, open up inside. Yeah, so let's speak Echo, Maya, Vincent, Ty. Let's party till the break of dawn.